I have a question for you. What is the name of Doc Brown's dog in Back to the Future? Hi, I'm Mark Ellison from 5 Daily Trivia Questions. 5 questions, 5 answers, and maybe you'll learn something amazing along the way. The number 5. 5 Daily Trivia Questions. Oh, and the answer? Doc Brown's dog's name is Einstein. 5 Daily Trivia Questions.
It is the world's most secretive election. When a pope dies, ancient traditions begin. A silver hammer, a destroyed ring, over 100 cardinals locked away from the world, choosing the next leader of 1 billion faithful. White smoke. The path to a new pope, from Calaroga Shark Media, wherever you get your podcasts.
Calaroga Shark Media.
From New Orleans, the only city where the pregame warm-up is finding your way back from Bourbon Street, this is Ballot.
That's right, I tried to get Super Bowl tickets, but my bank account just laughed and hung up on me. Let's hit this. Hi, I'm Patrick Gutfield, and welcome to our Super Bowl preview. Travis Kelce just called it a great honor to have Donald Trump at the Super Bowl. This is wild. Trump literally went after Taylor Swift on Truth Social, saying, "I hate Taylor Swift." That's not even the coded language politicians usually use. That's what a 13-year-old writes in their diary about the popular girl at school. And Trump said Swift would pay the price in the marketplace, which really shows how well he understands her fan base. Yeah, Swifties are definitely going to abandon their queen because... checks notes. The guy who tried to overturn an election doesn't like her. But Travis is playing this perfectly diplomatic. When asked about Trump coming, he said, "That's awesome," which is exactly what you say when your girlfriend's nemesis shows up to your biggest career moment. It's the same tone you use when your mom tells you your ex is coming to Thanksgiving. Patrick Mahomes is playing it cool about Trump coming to the Super Bowl, saying, "It's always cool to play in front of a sitting president," which sounds way more diplomatic than, "It's always cool to play in front of the guy who keeps posting about how much he likes my wife on Truth Social." Trump won't say who he's rooting for, just that there's a certain quarterback that seems to be a pretty good winner. Classic Trump move, trying to both support Mahomes while also leaving room to claim he meant the Eagles if things go south. He's hedging his bets harder than a garden maze designer. Travis called it an honor to have Trump there, which might make for an awkward conversation with Taylor later. I imagine that chat going something like, "Hey babe, remember that guy who said he hates you and that you'll pay the price in the marketplace? Well, funny story." The real winner here is Brittany Mahomes, who went from liking Trump's Instagram posts to having him thank her on Truth Social. She's basically the Helen of Troy of social media engagement. One little double tap, and suddenly everyone's choosing sides. The truth is, this Super Bowl has everything. Taylor Swift, Donald Trump, and 78,000 drunk Saints fans who are only there because their team's stadium got picked. It's like the beginning of a joke where 3 people walk into a bar, except the bar is the Caesars Superdome, and the bartender wants to annex Gaza. So here's a story that's wilder than the time I convinced my friend that Alaska and Hawaii were actually right next to each other because that's how they appear on most maps. President Trump just gave us his own unique version of sports history, claiming Tommy Tuberville coached Patrick Mahomes. Which would be amazing if it were true, kind of like claiming Abraham Lincoln invented the forward pass. Let's break this down. Trump's praising Tuberville at this signing ceremony, calling him a great coach, which, okay, fair enough. But then he goes full sports fantasy, talking about how Mahomes was Tuberville's quarterback. He even quotes Tuberville supposedly saying, "He made me into a great coach." Now, here's the reality check. When Tuberville left Texas Tech in 2012, Mahomes was still in high school, probably trying to figure out how to ask someone to prom, not leading a college football team. He wasn't even playing quarterback yet. He was like a superhero before getting bitten by the radioactive football. But wait, it gets better. Tuberville had claimed he recruited Mahomes to Texas Tech. That's like me claiming I discovered coffee because I once walked past a Starbucks. According to fact checkers, Texas Tech didn't even start recruiting Mahomes until after Tuberville had packed his bags and headed to Cincinnati. This whole thing is like one of those fishing stories where the fish keeps getting bigger every time you tell it, except instead of a fish, it's a connection to one of the NFL's best quarterbacks. Next thing you know, someone's going to claim they taught Tom Brady how to throw in kindergarten, and then that person will try to annex Greenland. Eagles superfan Dawn Staley can't make it to watch her Eagles because Trump's visit means restricted airspace. After coaching Texas, she planned to fly in faster than a Jalen Hurts touchdown run, but now she's stuck watching like the rest of us peasants who can't afford tickets. She told reporters she'll have a party instead, which is what we all say when we can't go somewhere. It's like when you tell your friends, actually, I prefer watching at home while eating microwave nachos in your Eagles jersey from 2008. And how perfect is this? The one time the Eagles make the Super Bowl when she could actually attend, the president decides to make history by showing up. That's Philadelphia luck right there. Even when you're a legendary coach with 3 national titles, you still can't catch a break. But Staley's keeping that Philly spirit alive, rocking an Eagles visor at practice and telling fans, when the clock strikes 0, we will be winners, which is probably what Trump tells everyone about the doomsday clock. Though honestly, in Philly, 0 on the clock usually means there's still 3 minutes of arguing with the refs left. We've got some more developments in the world of sports politics. And no, this isn't about Tom Brady coming out of retirement for the 17th time. President Trump signed this executive order about transgender athletes in women's sports. Now, I've been to the White House, not really, but in my head I have. And I imagine the scene was exactly like when Michael Scott declared bankruptcy. Just walking around, pointing at things, declaring what they are now. The order basically tells schools they can't get federal funding if they let transgender athletes compete in women's sports. It's like when your parents say they'll stop paying your phone bill if you keep posting those interpretive dance videos on TikTok. Except this involves actual constitutional law and affects real people's lives. Speaking of effects, their president, Charlie Baker, made a statement that basically translates to, "Give us a minute, we're frantically Googling what to do." Meanwhile, in Washington state, they're sticking to their guns like my cousin, who insists he can parallel park. Their education department spokesperson basically said, "Yeah, we got your memo, but state law says otherwise." It's like when 2 parents give you different instructions, except instead of whether you can have ice cream for dinner, it's about civil rights. And California's Attorney General is considering a lawsuit, which in political terms is like saying, "Oh yeah, watch this." The whole situation has schools across the country playing a very high-stakes game of red light, green light. But here's where it gets really interesting. Some wealthy districts might just say, "Keep your money," while others can't afford to. It's like when your rich friend orders the fancy dinner and your other friend is counting quarters for the dollar menu. Same restaurant, very different situations. The Supreme Court will probably have to settle this eventually. Because nothing says we need the highest court in the land, quite like not being able to agree on school sports rules. Portions of today's program were made with the help of KC and AI. And remember, although the refs aren't in the Chiefs' pocket, Trump might claim the replay booth was rigged by the deep state if a call goes against Kansas City.
It is the world's most secretive election. When a pope dies, ancient traditions begin. A silver hammer, a destroyed ring, over 100 cardinals locked away from the world, choosing the next leader of 1 billion faithful. White Smoke. The Path to a New Pope, from Caloroga Shark Media, wherever you get your podcasts.